Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is Napalm Dawn on Games for Gamers, G for G. Today we are in Diablo 4, and we're going to be having the discussion as to whether or not the new patch, the new season, the Season of Blood, breathes some necessary life into Diablo 4. And without any suspense, without making you watch to the end of the video, I'm going to tell you that the answer is yes. And I will set the context of that yes in just a few moments. Before we get a little further into the video, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do so. The typical YouTuber like and subscribe and turn on notifications is not something I mention particularly often, but we are very close to 5,000 subs, so I just wanted to mention it. In case you see this in some videos with Diablo 4, the left oriented UI can actually be done in settings. I had wondered about it myself because I hadn't run into it before, but I would see it in a lot of videos. Just go to your options, gameplay, and HUD configuration. You could do center or left corner. I have it on left corner now just because I'd seen it in a bunch of Diablo 4 videos and I felt like doing something fresh and exciting. You have your ability bind still over here. Here are my summons, my 4 warriors, 5 mages, my Q for potions, T for town portals, spacebar for dodge, and Z for mount. When you speaking of mounts, if you go to the shop currently, and unfortunately you only have to deal with this animation like once per session, Invincible is currently in the store for 2,500 platinum. If we were to convert that into real life currency, it is basically about 25 bucks. Actually, oh wow, I got a bunch of Game Pass stuff over here. Anyway, let's go ahead and go back to it. In case you're not familiar with Invincible, it is a mount that would drop from the Lich King in Wrath of the Lich King. Whether you're playing retail or classic, of course, Invincible is becoming a bit more popular again as people are up to ICC or Ice Crown Citadel. In Wrath of the Lich King Classic, it is now the raid people are doing. So Invincibles being in the meta or being in discussion or being talked about is now reoccurring. And that's what he looks like in World of Warcraft. This is him without his armor. This is him with the armor on. You have a Arthas Menethil, or the Lich King helmet, the Helm of Domination, as a trophy that comes with this kit. And then the other trophy on this is the cracked Frostmourne blade, which also comes back into play in World of Warcraft Shadowlands. So there you go. I just wanted to go ahead and mention that. There is this other mount over here, the Resplendent Palfrey stock horse with the armor. Oni mask over here. The rest of it sort of reminds me of a watch I think I would see in The Witcher, except for the Oni mask over there. There is one of the attachments for this set, and then the lantern. So I just wanted to point that out because Invincible is kind of a big thing. This looks like this looks a lot like a ring wraith, or the undead in Lord of the Rings that were in the past, the cursed men that essentially helped them turn the tide of battle in the third movie. It specifically reminds me of that king that Aragorn talks to. Yeah, it really reminds me of him. But this is a Necromancer set. This is a really good one. My rogue is my primary character, but I rolled a Necromancer for the season, and you know, on my rogue I was pretty much happy with the transmog the game gave me when it comes to the necromancer, there's actually stuff in the store that I do kind of like and think is pretty cool. So anyway, the Season of Blood in Diablo 4. So what they have done is they have added this area on the map that rotates of vampire activity. And it is similar to the Helltide events and everything, or when a place gets you those dailies of doing the whispers that you you turn into the tree over here. So here is what happened when I rolled a seasonal character. I had the option to skip the story, which then at level 1 deposits you right out into the field, doing the types of activities you would do on your regular character that was maxed out and then done with the story. In order to have a seasonal character, you have to have at least one character that has cleared the game. Now, what is very interesting about this, aside from the new overworld stuff, you have these new vampiric powers. And you get them as drops, but you can also allocate experience to them and unlock them. So you have this area down here where it says spend potent blood to upgrade or unlock powers. When you click it, it has the chance to give you a power you don't have unlocked already, or one of the ones that you do have unlocked, and then you dedicate some experience to them, similar to your nodes when you complete a what I would like to call a mythic from World of Warcraft. But when you do one of those special dungeons in Diablo 4 where you use the consumable to turn it into a nightmare dungeon, you know how when you get to the end of the dungeon you have that little pedestal and you put some experience in. It's very similar to that, except you can unlock ones you don't have or level up ones that you do. It has been said that the necromancer can very easily, with these vampire powers and regular gear and everything, begin to make a build that you just sit in whatever you want to sit in and you just tank. That's it. You just sit there and you tank and you do abilities, and whoever you're facing is wailing on your face, and it doesn't matter because you are fortifying and restoring health at a level that the boss cannot do anything to you. I haven't really investigated that build myself. I'm just playing what feels good to me. And I gotta say, I'm really enjoying it. You can see he is level 37 and is literally decked out in all legendaries at level 37. And the reason why that is happening is because Blizzard has said, okay, we are going to make a change. We hear that there were some problems and everything, and what we've gone ahead and done is we've said we will make gear drop at a rate that it did in the beta. And that is where the real question gets answered of, is Diablo 4 now enjoyable? To be honest, when I was playing on my rogue, the rogue was so strong and so fast and just basically so dexterous, so agile, that the rogue was extremely fun to play. And I've seen people say they've done some rogue in the seasonal content, and people's responses are like, wow, is this what a rogue is like? Holy hell, is this the game now, or is it the rogue? And people are like, no, it's the rogue. It's a very fun class. And it was a class that people considered fun right from the get-go. It's what I played during the beta. It's what I played when live dropped, and I've been sticking with it ever since. However, for the seasonal content, I obviously wanted to do something different. So here's my current collection of mounts. Nothing particularly purchased from the store. I think I maybe did one mount thing from the store, even though I haven't done any personal cosmetics. But some of these are pre-order related horses. Some of them are just a seasonal horse and everything. And I didn't want to do a rogue again because that would be stupid. So I was like, all right, I'll do another class, and I'll do one that is known for being fun kind of right from the start. Now, the most obvious choice would be Sorcerer. And I was like, yeah, I don't think I want to do Sorcerer because that one is just too well known as being a high point for the most part. It's taken some nerfs and everything, but Sorcerer is considered pretty OP, one of the most fun classes. So I took a step down and went for Necromancer. I know I didn't want to do Barbarian, and I know I didn't want to do Druid. I did a Druid a little bit in the beta, but I didn't know if they had finally gotten out of being too slow. And I think they have. But anyway, that's why I went with Necromancer. So what happens when you have these blood harvests is a region of the map will go green. And you could still earn your Grim Favors, which you take to the Tree of Whispers. Typically, you have a quest to kill structures, usually 5, a quest to kill Bloodseekers, and then usually Blood Reavers, which are just a standard zombie-like mob. And then a lot of times you'll see it also, it could overlay with your red areas in the map and then other dailies. Oh, wow. A world boss is going to be up. I've only seen one boss since the game has gone live, and that was on my rogue. It would be not, I just said this to somebody the other day. I was like, you know, I've only seen one boss since the game has gone live. Even though I did see one in the beta. And here's one coming up in another hour, so that makes me happy. They have fixed horses a little bit, where horses get stuck on geometry a little bit less, and I can say that that is largely true. One of the only times I really ever get stuck on my horse is because I'm looking at the map and sort of trying to drive by my cursor rather than actually looking at the screen and trying to drive at my character on the horse. But yeah, for the most part, mounted travel is doing considerably better. Each character can jump off of their mount with an attack in different ways. My rogue, when she jumps off, it's a rain of arrows, and here it's bone spikes. So this season, I would say Blizzard is really hitting a high point with it. I think they are definitely making the game fun again to the level of hype that we saw during the beta. Now, the beta largely had people very excited for the game, with the exception of Barbarians and Druids. I mean, there were some class problems, yes. That was true. However, there wasn't really so much game problems. And the game went live, and people went through the story, and were like, okay, this was a little shallow. And then people were like, okay, well, this is a little bit grindy. And sort of the honeymoon period went away relatively quickly. It sold very well. It did very well on Twitch. Viewer numbers were very high. Engagement, activity was all super, super high. And then it faded. And then Overwatch hit Steam and got review bombed. And then Diablo 4 hit Steam and got review bombed. And people were like, okay, the monetization sucks. The story wasn't really that great. And then it tanked. It tanked in viewership on Twitch, and people stopped talking about Diablo 4, and Baldur's Gate 3 was coming out, which really could be Game of the Year. You had Starfield, Now, me at that point, I was still very much playing Diablo 4. I was very much playing my rogue because I simply enjoyed the combat. I enjoyed my skills. I enjoyed playing the character. I wasn't trying to min-max. I was just having fun playing an ARPG. You know, an isometric RPG. And it just was a fun game. And everybody was like, oh, well, you know, wait for Path of Exile 2 to come out. We've seen the trailers and it's going to be great. And it's going to be a Diablo killer. And then you started seeing articles and videos of like, okay, you want the Diablo 4 experience. What should you play? Should it be Grim Dawn? Should it be Last Echoes? And, you know, Diablo 4 just kind of was going in the shitter in people's minds. So then they did Season of Blood. And I would say they brought it back. Now, for me, I didn't really dip in Diablo 4 that much. And I didn't dip in it because the game sucked. I dipped in it because I had a lot of other games that I was playing. I was playing Starfield. I was playing a new season in Overwatch 2 and everything like that. So I never was at the point where Diablo 4 frustrated me because I wasn't a min-maxer. I wasn't trying to get specific legendaries like what just dropped. You know, I was just having fun playing the game, you know? Sort of like being a major leaguer and playing baseball for millions of dollars, or just going out to the local diamond with some friends and playing because you like playing. Oh, hello. Somebody's talking to me. And oh my god. Not paying attention there. That is a lot of shit. So a combo I like to use on my Necromancer is the tendrils to bring everybody together, and then hit them with the bone prison, excuse me. Just get everybody stuck, and then just kind of wail on them with the bone spear, which makes them vulnerable. And my minions typically do an extremely good job. My mages have an ability that casts Blizzard in combat, and I'll tell you, there's plenty of times where I'm just trekking through a dungeon and all of a sudden the blizzards just start going out because these mages are aggro as hell. They are absolutely up for combat. These guys are not cowards by any stretch. Okay, so that was fun. Anyway, as we were talking about, my time in Diablo 4 didn't shrink because I didn't like the game or found it too grindy or didn't like the whispers, which a lot of people were complaining about. It's like, oh, you're doing the same thing every day. And I wasn't quite feeling that. It's just I had a lot of stuff to do. When the season dropped, I decided, okay, I will make my first ever seasonal character. Never did one in Diablo 3. You know, I had my Demon Hunter and that was it, and a alt monk that, I don't know, maybe got into the high 20s somewhere, low 30s. So I was like, okay, I'll make a seasonal character. I'll see what this battle pass is about. I got the boosted one because of the BlizzCon subscription for when BlizzCon drops in November and everything. And in all honesty, I am truly having a lot of fun. And a lot of people are turning around in their opinion on Diablo 4 and saying this is great. I mean, obviously, you could just look at my character and think, wow, he looks endgame. He looks like he's maxed out. He's got a cool transmog going on. You have all legendaries. You've got some legendaries in your bags over here. You seem to be tackling combat pretty well. I'm 37. I mean, I am not at the end game of this at all on this character. And yet I am having an absolute blast. And gears dropping, and I feel powerful. And that is a good feeling to have at this, to be at a low level and feel highly engaged in my character. And to feel that I'm not resetting from the maxed out character that I already have with my rogue. And that was sort of an issue for me when I started playing Borderlands 3 after years and years and years and years of Borderlands 2. And as much as I hated the pre-sequel, I really did not enjoy the pre-sequel very much. The oxygen mechanic and the low grav, and there were a lot of zones that were just really fucking annoying. And you sort of get really, really addicted to Handsome Jack from Borderlands 2 and the threat he represents, his comedy, but also his evil and everything like that. Pre-sequel was not a favorite game of mine whatsoever. But they did something a little bit weird with Borderlands 3. They released a free expansion. They're legendary. They released a free expansion to Borderlands 2 right before Borderlands 3 dropped. It's almost as if pre-sequel didn't exist. And they're like, let's get you back into the Borderlands experience. Let's go ahead and get you refreshed with what it's like to play Borderlands and you know, like, be happy with the game and the gunplay and your talents and your builds and all of that kind of stuff. And that expansion, by drawing me back into Borderlands 2, just made me super, super familiar again with how strong my Borderlands character, my Borderlands 2 character had become. And how I pretty much had all the gear that I was hoping to get and farmed. And my god, this dungeon is truly kicking my ass here. That's a dead end, so I don't want to go that way. Wow, I think I am going to use that shrine. Anyway. So, that little extra expansion that they gave you for free just sort of refreshed how much I had loved my Borderlands 2 character. And how strong it was, and how much I loved the bee shield, and the Scarlet Pimpernel sniper that I had, and my Sandhawk, and my Infinity Pistol, and all the other gear that my Borderlands 2 character had. So when Borderlands 3 dropped, and I started playing it, I originally didn't like the game at all. And I'm like, why am I not liking Borderlands 3? It's considerably better than the pre-sequel. What is my problem with it? Why do I feel this way? I should love Borderlands games. And I came to two conclusions. One of them is that I was playing it on a small controller, an 8-bit DO USB controller for the PC that was just too small. And it was also buggy, like it was vibrating or giving me haptic feedback when it shouldn't have. But the other reason I realized I wasn't having fun in Borderlands 3 is because I was back at square zero. My character was noobish and only had 2 gun slots open, then only 3 slots for a long time. And the guns in the beginning of the game were just kind of very standard, not special, and there's no special shields, and you don't have a lot of talents yet and everything. And I was like, I I understand now. I'm super, super low powered. I just got done playing with my Borderlands 2 character that is basically like a Ferrari. And now I'm driving like a Yugo to work over here. That's the problem. It's not that I dislike driving, it's that I dislike driving this car. And once I realized that and said, okay, I just gotta stick with it for a little while and unlock 4 gun slots and get better guns and level up for powers and all that stuff, that's when I started giving Borderlands 3 a chance. And I got there, and I really liked it, and then Tiny Tina dropped, and I was playing that with my girlfriend, and that was a really enjoyable game because you felt strong early on, you were getting magic powers and everything like that. So that's how I feel about my seasonal character. The acceleration curve of getting a strong character after just coming off of an endgame character that has felt pretty strong and has not died in a long time and has even killed Butcher during 2 surprise attacks from the Butcher after having always died to the Butcher in like the beta and the early game and everything. Playing this seasonal character was really fun, and there was no ramp up to it. I hit the gas and the car started going, and it had really good pickup and it was fast. That's the best way that I could relate the Season of Blood to you, is that the acceleration of I'm a level 1, I'm a complete noob, I have trash gear, I have trash talents, is something where you're like, okay, yeah, I'm having a blast, I feel good, the game is fun, the new stuff is fun, it all happens very quickly, and if you skip the story and you go right out to these new things that are out there with the Blood Harvest, and you're not just doing Grim Favors to the tree and rolling nightmare dungeons and looking up what is the most efficient farm for leveling up, and okay, I'm gonna do that one particular dungeon, the Dorheim Keep one or whatever that one is. Yeah, it's Blizzard did something good on this one, and that's really tough to say nowadays when Blizzard is just constantly getting shit on everywhere you look. They release stuff on Steam, it gets review bombed. They have some of the worst reviewed games in history with Warcraft 3 Reforged, and people were not happy with the missing content in Overwatch 2. And Dragonflight is doing well, but it doesn't seem to have been the big fix. Like, people aren't complaining about it, but they're also not stroking themselves over it. You know, it's a solid expansion, and they broke the curse of Biffa into Shadowlands, which was a really bad 1-2 combo over there. People have said you cannot put out 2 bad expansions in a row like that. You will probably kill the game, similar to like Microsoft putting out 2 bad Windows versions in a row. Like, what if they did 2 Windows Millenniums? Would you still be using Windows as your primary OS, or would you be switching to a Linux build at that point? Oh dear. This is gonna be fun. So, yeah, you know, admittedly, Dragonflight is doing relatively well for itself. I still play it. I'm looking forward to some of the new content that's going to be coming up. In early November, we're going to be hitting the Extreme. Druids are going to be getting new forms and everything like that. So, yeah, like, I have not given up my WoW sub. I have not abandoned the game. I'm not converted to another MMO like 14 or something like that. But, you know, it's not where it was for me 5 years ago.
I'm not ready yet.
10 years ago, you know? The polish has come off the game a little bit. So it's nice to be able to report that Season of Blood in Diablo 4 is a lot of fun. And that I think if you left Diablo 4, for whatever your reasons, was it too grindy? Was it too repetitive? Were you not having fun? Were you tired of the whispers and the tree? And okay, well, you know, I did my 10 things and I went to the tree. Oh boy, I think I'm done for the day. Yes, I think it's worth returning to Diablo 4. And if you've never played Diablo 4 before, if you were on the fence or maybe didn't have time to get it when it first came out, was super popular, and now you're hearing all of the negative things about it, you know, give it a chance. This is from somebody who still has a very high level character in Diablo Immortal, so I was getting a pretty good Diablo experience leading into 4. I could say I wasn't wanting for this kind of game, but it's on my daily playlist now. I am playing Diablo 4 just about every single day, along with Overwatch, and I can't even say that about WoW. To be honest, I'm not playing WoW daily, and that's a crazy thing to say for me. So, anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it sways you into giving Diablo 4 a chance. If you left Diablo 4, come back, roll a seasonal character, see what you think about it. Try these, you know, these blood harvest areas and things that you do. These big icons here take 50 of your lore. So when you're out in a blood zone, and I'll show you really quick because it's how you get it to pop up on the UIs, you actually have to go outside. When you're in a blood harvest area, you have these. So these are your blood lures over here, this 129. When you turn them into this area over here, there's 3 pillars of about 50. And a bunch of people turn in their 50, and then you fight waves and waves of bigger enemies and everything. This is worth it if you've got people around. The smaller altars that take 15 blood lures, when you go and put your 15 in here, that's what gives you your 2 blood seekers that you need to kill for the 3 favors. And yeah, so far, it's always been pretty much the same. Kill about 150 the little shitters, get 2 blood seekers, destroy some kind of structure, and then also maybe do the big bads, which are the 150 that you do. Could you sit there and have 150 and turn in the 50, the 50, the 50? Yeah, I would say if you've got a good enough sustain build, you could probably do that. It is, of course, recommended that you multiplayer that one a little bit and get other people to help. And one word of advice, if you're ever out and you're fighting people who are just a little bit bigger than the typical grunts and everything, you may see them go immune, and look around. When you see that, there is usually a blood boil on the ground that is sort of channeling on the bigger humanoid mobs, and that's what's making them invincible. Go kill the blood boils, and you can do damage again. The structures will have that little down triangle on the map. Kill these things and you get your 1 out of 5. Usually you have elites. When you try to kill these, they'll come out at some point. Honestly, that combo step, see, they went immune, so I gotta go look for a boil, which it seems my minions killed. And then you often get a blood lure for it. Sometimes they are rescue like the prisoners, and that's what, see, okay, mine's not a boil this time, it is a little corpse pile. And then you usually get a little bit of an ambush when that happens. Not always too bad. Anyway, that's what you got going in Diablo 4 now. You still have the old events, as you can see, the world boss, the hell tides, the PvP sections and everything like that. The empowered areas that go that reddishy pink color. You still have the nightmare dungeons, and looks like I'm about 30 minutes away from a world boss. It's Ashava again, which is the one you killed in the beta. Guess you get into it right from over here. So it'd be nice to fight Ashava again, and I'm going to try it on this character. My rogue has already killed a world boss once, so we'll see how it goes. Anyway, give Diablo 4 a try if you haven't and were thinking about it. If you dropped it, come back. Oh, you have this thing over here called the Hunter's Board, where as you sort of level up with these vampire hunter people, the Hunter's Acclaim, you get sort of like Battle Pass rewards over here. The last thing I got was a bunch of chokers or amulets, and the next thing due up to me is just items and gold, and you have these other things along the way. So you have that along with the Battle Pass. Anyway, this is Napalm signing off. If you enjoyed the content, please give a subscribe, and let's get the channel up to 5,000 subs. Have a good one, everybody.